I'm just gonna run it live now. I'll run it live.
Yeah, but then can you run it tape like we did on the other game at 7:30 tomorrow night?
Maybe. I mean, I could upload it again, but
Did did,
it,
did
it's
y'all do
basically
that for the
it's getting uploaded right now. Is what I'm saying. So it'll be up on
right?
our page if somebody were to check it tomorrow night.
Okay,
So it would already be
okay,
there.
I got you. Okay,
But
all right. So we're ready to roll.
yeah, man, we're live right now, Mr. Gator Dave.
We are
This
live.
is
So
week 11.
we're talking about why we're live on a Wednesday night, right?
That's right.
Um, we we got a few things going on tomorrow. Gator Dave's headed to the Big Apple to visit the dog, Mr. Ian Capello, up there in New York City, taking Nirvana, the wife, and taking Public House. May not be knowledge out there, but yeah, Public House is going to attack the Big Apple starting tomorrow, and we're going to be there through Sunday. So pretty excited about that trip. Catch a Broadway show on Friday night, so should be good. So that's why we're here on Wednesday night to talk about Week 11. I got to start. Well, first I got to start and say I was 5-5 last week. Not a lot to brag about, but 50% is not too god awful bad. But do need to say 3-0 in the showdown games there, Miami Mike. Oh man, I hope you're not keeping score for the year because it'd be ugly, wouldn't it? So
It's not
yeah,
it's not great in the showdowns. Yeah, I will admit
three
that. Not great in the
three and
showdowns.
3-0 in the showdown. So pretty decent there. But we did have fall on our face in a couple games as well that we thought for sure were our locks sucked because I think I had 2 locks and neither one of them panned out. So what's in the news for Gator Dave and his team? They lost to South Carolina. Oh Lord. And the Gator Nation is pretty pissed, and they called for a head or 2. Didn't get Mullen, but we got our defensive coordinator Todd Grantham, 3rd down in Grantham, and our offensive line John Hevesy. That coach and the coordinator is gone. So they left us on Monday. We got guys covering for them probably for the remainder of the year. In my personal opinion, this should have taken place at the end of last year, these exact 2 moves, and maybe we're not sitting in this silly situation we're sitting in now, losing to South Carolina last week. Just pitiful.
Terrible.
We couldn't
Awful.
run the ball.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was horrendous. So, easy Todd Grantham, but we can't run the ball anymore. I mean, what the hell? We were running lights out at the beginning of the year, and now we can't. So,
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, he had to go. So, like I said, I think it's too little, too late. If the Gators lose another game, Mullen's done. So, I'm sure it's going to be tough for Ian Gleason to almost hope his team wins because, if his team wins, Mullen's gone, which is probably good for us, not good for him, right? So, interesting scenario there. CFB poll came out, few minor adjustments there. Michigan State went bye-bye, because they did lose. Georgia's still at number 1, Alabama at number 2, Oregon at number 3. Man, I'm having trouble even saying that, but, I don't know if they lose another game. Then Ohio State number 4, who didn't have that great of a showing this past week, but they are number 4, still cooking there. And
Yep.
Cincinnati on the outside looking in at number 5. So any comments there, Mike, on thoughts on the top 5 at all?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of how I have my rankings right now. I mean, I don't see Oregon getting in there necessarily, but after the way Cincinnati's played the last 2 weeks, I don't really see how they're still sitting at five. I mean, I get it, but you got to start looking at that Michigan team or even that Oklahoma team to start sliding up in there. Michigan State, I mean, even though they dropped at seven, that's not out of it completely. They could still
No,
sneak back in
no.
there pretty easily. So,
Yeah, they gotta win out, so to speak.
oh well,
But
yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
possible.
They need a couple
It's still
things to go
possible.
their way. They need Michigan to
Yep,
lose and then to beat Ohio State, and maybe they'll slide in. Um,
yep.
but yeah, I'm with you. Oregon's tough to see in that
It
three.
really is. It's just like, oh, really?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
was high on them at the beginning of the year, like we talked about, last week with that Ohio State game. We had Oregon to upset them outright. They did, and without Thibodeau, without Flo, and then they've sort of like fallen off after that. They've completely sort of just that was almost like their peak of the roller coaster, like we were talking last week as well, and they just have been going in a nosedive almost ever since. They're winning, but the
Yeah,
games are ugly. If you watch
yeah,
them, they kind of have no business winning them.
yeah. And like you said, Cincinnati's not just tearing it up, and their competition sucks.
Right.
Compared to everybody else. So, but I I don't think they I don't think they come off of that five spot. Almost no matter what happens. So
Who,
those three
Cincy?
teams behind them, one of them's going to go ahead of them. No ifs, ands, or buts. So it's just they're stuck there. They're stuck there. But it's still interesting that Oklahoma sitting number 8 though. That's just hilarious. But they haven't just torn it up either. So
Right.
they could blow through the rest of their schedule, and it's still a possibility they end up in there in that top 4, just like what we've had recent, in the past. But at the same time, if Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, no telling what's going to happen. So
Yep.
we shall see.
I still think even if Alabama loses to Georgia, they'll still get in at four. I just the committee loves
Big
Alabama.
losses,
They
2 losses.
love Alabama. Love
Yeah,
Alabama.
they
They're not
love them
supposed to
too, man.
have any past year, history playing a part in it, but somehow, every year, pretty much since Saban's gotten there, besides what the first year or two when he had them, climbing,
Yeah,
they've been in a BCS game or they've been in the playoff.
yep, yep.
So they've definitely been there. Top five finishers every year. It's insane.
Yeah. All right, let's hit the games. First game on the slate that I've got is Michigan
Yep.
versus Penn State. Penn State by 1. So I guess that's home field advantage. So here, Wolverines 8-1, 7-2 against the spread. Their one loss against Michigan State by 4 at
Yep.
Michigan State. Michigan has the 6th ranked defense and the 25th ranked offense in FBS. I mean, that's kind of serious. Probably the best Harbaugh's done since he's been there.
Oh, by far.
And this Cade McNamara threw for 383 yards against Michigan State. But they did give up 550 yards to Michigan State as well. But things are coming down to the home stretch. They still have to play Ohio State. So, that should be. I mean, on paper now and looking at things, I'm telling you, that might be one of the best matchups, OSU and Michigan, that we've seen in a while. And that's that Thanksgiving weekend. Is that the last game of the year? Yeah, because
Yep.
we're always at the FSU Florida game. So, man, that's going to be interesting. So, Penn State, is 6-3, 6-3 against the spread. The Nittany Lions have lost 2 of their last 4 games, losses to Ohio State and Illinois. So rather interesting there. Penn State comes in with the number 40 defense in FBS. Clifford was 27 of 47 for 363 against Maryland last week. It's just hard for me in this situation to bet against our boy Harbaugh, and I'm gonna say that get that point, hell, take it to the money line and take Harbaugh and the Wolverines in this one. That's what I'm thinking here.
Harbaugh and Wolverines for Gator Dave.
That's it.
Yeah, this was one that I was sort of ultimately it's no play for me. I was sort of torn on it. Is this a game that Penn State beats Michigan and Michigan kind of shows that they're still the same sort of Harbaugh Michigan of old? Once they have that first loss, they sort of crumble after that. Or, is this the Michigan team that's finally going to give Ohio State a game in that final game of the year? I don't know. Well, I think this is a big test and a big test for Michigan to see what they're made of for sure. If they have the potential to pull off that upset against Ohio State at the end of the year and maybe sneak into that playoff spot.
Yeah, I think if they win by a touchdown or more, then it makes that other game even more exciting to me. I think they're for real then if that happens. So It's definitely one of those that to mark down and look at real close.
For sure. All right, moving on. We got Georgia, Tennessee,
Georgia,
Dave. Georgia, Tennessee.
The Bulldogs, number 1 in the land, getting 20 at Rocky Top. So, number 1, 9-0 Bulldogs, 6-3 against the spread. They whooped Missouri last week, but they didn't cover.
They did not cover.
And I believe that was a showdown game.
Moving on.
So, moving right along. So, Georgia has a 44th ranked offense, which kind of interesting. And number 2 defense in FBS. We saw a little bit of JT Daniels toward the latter part of that game.
Yep.
But it still looks like it's our boy Stetson's team right now. I think they don't mess with a hot hand and they stick with him right now unless something really goes sideways. There's just not much stopping Georgia right now. Granted, 20 points is a lot, though. 20 points is a lot. Tennessee's 5-4. They are 4-5 against the spread, so not done so well against the spread. Last week, as predicted, Tennessee took care of the Wildcats at home. Hooker was 15 of 20 for 315 yards. So, interesting there. Fun fact, however, would you believe that Kentucky had 612 yards against the Vols and lost? 612 yards. The Vols have won 2 of the last 4, and I know Gator Nation. The Rocky Top and the Vols are fired up, thinking they got it, but that they've won 2 of 4.
Yep.
Not so fast, as Lee Corso says. I think reality's coming to town, and the Vols are going down, and Georgia's going to cover the 20 points.
Wow.
And I'd love for this to be a showdown game, as it was last week, Mike. What do you think, buddy?
Well, I tell you what, Dave. If they were playing at night in Neyland, or Neyland, however you want to say it.
Neyland, yes, sir.
I may be tempted to go Tennessee in the points, but the fact it's going to be 3:30, Georgia will be prepared. It's just another SEC game at that point. I'm worried about covering the point. I did take Georgia last week to cover. They did not.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay away from this game. This is a do not play for me, but I'm sure they could cover this game. I do like Hendon Hooker, though, for Tennessee. And if they can keep it close in the first half, they may be able to pull that cover off in the second and hold them off for, just long enough.
Okay. So we'll see. I gotta do the dogs every week, so I'm gonna stick with that. Now, interesting fun fact: at 3:30 on Saturday, Gator Dave is probably gonna be in a place called American Whiskey in New York City on Manhattan, and that is, hold your ears, Gator fans, a Georgia Bulldog bar. Since we're visiting Ian and his Georgia Bulldog self, we will probably watch the Georgia game at American Whiskey, which is a Georgia bar. So I won't be wearing Gator gear that day because I don't want to get tossed out of there. So, fun fact. All right.
I think they just feel sorry for you this year, Dave. I don't know if they'd actually. You might get some free drinks that way.
They could never feel sorry for a Gator fan, as we would not for a Bulldog fan. Next game, and I'm calling this one a lock.
Uh-oh.
We got Texas A&M getting 2.5 at Ole Miss. The Aggies are 7-2, 6-3 against the spread. The Aggies have won four of their last 4 games, and of course, don't forget they beat Bama. A&M's got the 16th ranked defense. It will, as I did my research, be the best defense that the Rebels have faced all year. Last week in their big win over Auburn, who was coming of age, they had 417 yards of offense against Auburn and held War Eagle to 226. So Jimbo's got them running. The Rebs are 7-2, 6-3 against the spread. Ole Miss has the 4th ranked offense, averaging 524 yards a game. Last week they took care of their old buddy Hugh Freeze and Liberty, of which I believe I picked that one. They got the big L. Liberty did.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, sir. The big overlap game, something to think about here. We talked about those a little bit this year. Is Auburn. Ole Miss lost to Auburn by 11, and Texas A&M just beat Auburn. So with that said, I say Jimbo covers and beats the Lane Train at Ole Miss. What you think?
Yeah.
That's a lock.
That's a lock for you.
That's a lock.
I would probably lean the same side. That was one that I was sort of on the fence about. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'd almost look at the over there. I think that might be a good play to have. Ole Miss's defense, though, is starting to step it up. I think I'd have to lean with you for the Texas A&M side, but I don't know. I may stay away. I may end up getting on that over, but right now that one's a no play for me.
Okay. All right. It's a lock for Gator Dave. All right.
Lock for Gator Dave.
Yes, sir. TCU Oklahoma State. All right. TCU 4-5, 2-6-1 against the spread. So TCU had a huge win last week over Baylor, who we thought was going to be something. 30-28. They had 562 yards of offense. Now, one thing I did look at was that Baylor threw 2 interceptions, which leans me a little to The turnover bug got them. Now, the Horned Frogs are ranked 27th in offense in FBS. And it used to be, right, in the old days, TCU was all that defense. It was like Patterson had the best defense in Big 12.
Right.
But now they're 27 ranked offense, which isn't bad, and Patterson is gone. Gone. Oklahoma State, 8-1, 7-2 against the spread. OSU's lone loss was against Iowa State, and they were at Iowa State. The Cowboys have big wins over Texas and Baylor. So in this situation, the Baylor overlap, and they both won. TC only won by 2. Now, one thing interesting, OSU held, and this surprised me when I was doing the research, OSU held West Virginia to 133 yards of offense last week. That is freaking defense there, man.
Yep.
Serious damn defense. They're ranked number 9 right now in the nation. Holding teams to 16 points a game, which that's not been their mainstay. So that's kind of where they are. 13 points, a lot of points, though. That's a lot of points. But they are playing at home, so that kind of gets them 3, right? But I think the Cowboys continue to play great defense and cover those 13 points.
Wow.
Because TCU's a roller coaster. Mine's messed up, lost their mainstay coach. I know that's a lot of damn points, especially for, a Big 12 team, but I say they cover.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. It was one ultimately that I didn't get. I don't think I'm going to get to the window on. But Mike Gundy, one of the things he said at the beginning of this year during their media days was Oklahoma State's defense. He thought this was the best defense that he's had since he's been there. They get after the ball. They gang tackle. They play with passion. That's not something that, like you said, has been Oklahoma State or any Big 12 team's focal point in the past.
Yeah.
But they've made it really a precedent this year. So I'm with you. I think TCU, even though they beat Baylor last week, I think that was just all right, our coach is gone. We got to put this on our backs and get it done.
Yeah.
Let's come together. It always happens. You can look at it. It's one of those kind of trends and angles that people talk about. For that reason, I think they have that coming back down to earth moment. I'm with you. Oklahoma State's probably the play. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I have to lean there. Maybe even the under, that under 54.5. That might be a good play as well. If you're looking at a good defensive game, I could totally see that game being like 24-3, Oklahoma State, something like that.
Yeah. I think you're right. All right, let's go back to your ACC. North Carolina, Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is getting 6.5 here, or favored by 6.5. The roller coaster that is North Carolina is 5-4, 4-5 against the spread. Big win against Wake Forest last week that sunk my parlay. 58-55. Should have bet the house on the over in that one. Shit.
Which I did.
113 points.
You wanna shoot yourself? There you go. Yep, I got some too. I got you on that one.
You did put that one up, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think I took North Carolina in that one too, if I remember right.
Did you now?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I know I took the over. I know I took the over for sure.
All right. So 546 yards of offense did North Carolina put up. Now North Carolina has lost to the Irish. They've lost to your Canes. The Tar Heels do have the 11th ranked offense in FBS. So we know our boy Sam can put it up there. Pittsburgh 7-2. 7-2 against the spread. They rolled Duke last game. Got beat by your Canes the previous game.
Yep.
Pitt's other loss was to Western Michigan. Now, Mr. Kenny Pickett, did you know he threw for over 400? No, he flew over 500 yards against Miami, but he threw 2 interceptions and gave you the game. So
hate to see it. Yeah, it's too bad. Too bad for Kenny.
It is too bad for Kenny.
Rough inning for Kenny.
True that. I think, and Public House just put it up there, and I'm like, I've got it written here. I would have to show him, but I think this will be another high-scoring game, and bet over the 74 points. That's a little tidbit, and Public House agrees with me. He just texted me. But I say that get you those 6.5, take it up to 7, and go with the heels.
Whoa!
What do you think about that,
Go
Mikey?
with the heels. A little Thursday night magic,
heels.
eh?
Go with the heels. They're going to put 2 games together, I think.
You know, I may jump on this one with you. This is a game. The Thursday night games are always tricky, right? I may do that. Public House might be onto something though with that over. The over may be the play right there. I think that one might be.
If he's saying it, I'm saying it. We got to go that, man.
I think the over might be the one there.
I'm putting that in exclamation points and making that one for sure there.
And that one's the Thursday night game for everybody who's
is it? See,
curious.
It's a good reason why we ran tonight, so we can get that one in.
That one's that Thursday night game.
So that means we need to bet that game. We need to bet that game by tomorrow.
Yep, yeah. If you're gonna get on that one, make sure to get it in before tomorrow night.
All right. Next.
The best game of the week, Dave, is next.
Really?
Best game of the week, sir.
All right, so it's coming. Let me click to it. Here we are. in red, Mike. We're all singing together, me, you, and Public House. This is what it says right here. The game of the week for Miami Mike and the Gleason clan is this Saturday.
That's right.
Miami versus Florida State. Miami getting they got -2, and I am gonna call this one another lock. You'll find out why in a minute. Miami 5-4, very good record because the Gators are only 4-5, so you guys are doing well. You're 4-5 against the spread. Canes have won 3 of the last 4 games, 2 of which are against ranked teams. Pitt and North Carolina State. Yes, sir. I'm going real here.
Thank you.
But don't get too excited there, Miami Mike.
Tell me
those
why.
Last 4 games, or those 3 wins in the last 4 games, by 2.5 points each on average. Little tight. Your boy Tyler Van Dyke has saved your coach close to 400 yards per game in the last 3 games he's tossed up there. Wow, what a pull there. Miami is the 4th ranked offense, 13th ranked defense in ACC. So uncharacteristically, their defense is kind of sucking in that ACC with their defensive coach. So kind of tells me maybe there's some, I don't know what it tells me, but it's rather interesting, right? Now, one thing to remember is the game is in Tallahassee. So Tallahassee State is playing at home. They are, listen to this, they are 3-6. They are 3-6 against the spread. All right, the Seminoles are coming in losing the last two against Clemson and North Carolina State. And remember, we just said Miami beat North Carolina State and how about those matchups. Milton, our boy Milton last week, the quarterback, who Ian says, and I hate that he's not on, he doesn't know we're on, but dude really tore it up last week. He threw for 50% completion percentage. Tore it up. And remember that running back that we were touting a few weeks ago? He had 33 yards against NC State last week. Previous week, 31 yards against Clemson. I think that O-line is giving up like the Gator O-line. They sucking. So their one offensive weapon has gone to the crapper. Our boy Jay Sean Corbin is taking back steps.
Yep.
Not what he used to be. So maybe I was hoping Ian would be on and he could tell us, what's up with Jay Sean.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Public House can help us out with that and trying to get Ian in here.
Yeah, I'd surely like to know what's up with our boy Jay Sean.
Yeah.
So, with all that said, this one's a really this one's a lot. Miami's gonna kick the butt. Miami's gonna cover 2.5, 3, whatever. I'd take it up to 3, whatever. 4, hell. They're gonna beat Tallahassee State, and you can bank on that one. And that's a Gator lock there. That is a Gator Dave lock.
Another Gator Dave lock.
That's a Gator Dave lock. So talk to me. Let's give the hometown feeling there. What you got?
I'm with you, Gator Dave. I'm all about the Hurricanes this week. You already know I am. I think there is just too much. A couple weeks back, I was a little worried. About 3 weeks back, before we kind of started this winning streak, I was absolutely nervous about this game, and I didn't know if we were going to even win this game, let alone stand a shot the way Florida State was playing at the time and the way we were. And then it sort of reversed roles. Tyler Van Dyke, like you said, has just been playing out of his mind. Our offense, who was one of the worst in the league at the time, is now, like you said, 4th in the ACC. Defense is still buns. Manny Diaz is still coach of the defense, still buns. But like you said, he's saved his job.
Yeah.
I think if he wins this game against Florida State, and beats Virginia Tech, they finish it out with Duke at the end of the year. Manny Diaz is a very good shot of coming back. We'll go to a bowl game, whether we win or lose that game. They'll give him another year. He'll be back, and we'll see what Manny Diaz era continued has in store. But for this game, for this week, yes, it's all about the Canes. It's all about the U. I don't think going to Trailer Hassey is going to make any effect on this game. If it was, again, the night game plays a whole different factor. If you have everything's quieter on the outside, so all that noise is just that much more in your face. A little more intimidating place than at 3:30 in the afternoon. At that point, you're just playing against guys that you already know. That's the best part about these games with Miami, Florida State, Florida, Florida, Miami. They all grow up playing each other. So that's what makes it that much more passionate on the field, like it does for us fans. So it's going to be a great game regardless. Ian's going to come over. We'll be smoking some cigars, watching the game. And, hopefully the Canes come out on top. But
so that's a 3:30 game, too. That's going to be on the same time as the Dogs are on.
Yep. So you have a conflict of interest there. You have to maybe split screen it or go to a bar or something and see if you can get one on
more
there.
than just the freaking Bulldog game on there. So
yeah,
I haven't confirmed that we'll be there. So
it's going to be a good game. I will say this though, Dave. I am not going to play it at that 2.5. I'm taking it down to the money line, especially with it being Miami, Florida State. It could be 45-17 Miami. It could also be 31-30 Miami at the end of the game. So
Okay.
don't even mess with that 2.5. Just take it down to that money line. Ride that. That's what I would say. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm with you. That's a lock for the week for me as well. So we're gonna call that one a get ripped lock, Dave.
That is a get ripped lock.
That is a get ripped lock, sir.
Double down. All right, let's see. Threw a couple of another games at me.
I did.
Which once I did my research, I was like, yeah, I see why he's throwing them. So we got Notre Dame -5.5 at Virginia. Notre Dame is still winning. 8-1, 6-3 against the spread. That lone loss sits out there against Cincinnati. You know what's interesting is I look back over their wins. Now that Purdue is a team, they beat Purdue. They beat Purdue and they beat Wisconsin at the beginning of the year. So
right.
Now that's their signature wins looking at those two teams. Now, I know you hate their quarterback. Quarterbacks are way average, but a little digging, Miami Mike, you need to go dig on Kyrie Williams.
The running back for Notre Dame?
That's the running back for Notre Dame. The last 3 weeks, I think his worst week's like 140. He put up 200 yards in one game. This kid is for real. I think that's what's kind of keeping it going. They've got that average quarterback, which, hell, we all know that's kind of how they've been many years.
Right.
But this kid's for real. Check him out. Kyrie Williams. Big numbers. Let's look on the other side. Virginia is 6-3, respectable. Hell of a lot better than 4-5, like the Gators. They are 6-3 against the spread. They've won 3 out of their last 4 games. Wins over Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Duke. They did have a big loss by about 20 points to BYU. But here's what I'm thinking. I just don't think they got enough in the tank to beat the Irish. I'm going with Notre Dame again. Take them to cover that 5.5 points. What you think?
Gator Dave likes them at the 5.5. I'm actually on the over in this one, Mr. Gator Dave. That is the side that I'm on. I think it's going to be a shootout. Virginia's defense is absolute garbage, so I think you're 100% correct. Williams is going to run all over them and have a field day. But Virginia is coming off of a bye week. They had a lot of guys banged up, one of their guys being their quarterback, who was an absolute dog. He had some broken ribs that he was dealing with in that BYU game, in that shootout. He was playing with broken ribs, pulled himself out. Supposedly he's going to go against this Notre Dame team. If he doesn't, I think I'm with you on that Notre Dame side. That's probably the side to be on, but I do like that over in that game. So I may end up getting on the Notre Dame side, though, come maybe closer to game time. I want to see a little bit more about that quarterback if he's going to go. But even if he does, throwing with broken ribs, even healing ribs, that's tough. That's tough.
Virginia quarterback?
Yeah. Armstrong.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, Brandon Armstrong.
That makes this one even better.
Yep, I'll have to look up the latest thing with him, but if he goes and he doesn't have any pain in his ribs, I love the over. If he goes and chances are he's gonna have some pain in his ribs, Notre Dame might just be the side. So I may jump on Notre Dame here with you and do that as well as the over. I like that side.
That when you put that one up there, that's why I was like, ooh, I kind of looked at that one. I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
And I definitely see this next game why you picked that one and you look at the teams, you go, why are we talking about Air Force and Colorado State? Well, Air Force is -2.5 at Colorado State.
Yep.
The Falcons are 6-3, 5-4, 5-4 against the spread. But they've lost the last two games. They lost to Army and San Diego State, so they're in the ditch a little bit here. They did their signature win was against Boise State. So I don't know. The Rams of Colorado State are 3-6, 4-5 against the spread. Lost the last 3 games. Have only won 1 game at home, and they're playing this game at home. And their big win was against San Jose State. That's a big one. My answer to this one is Pew. Colorado State stinks. They've averaged less than 20 a game in the last 4. They're going to have to deal with the old Air Force Academy triple option, and that's why I'm going Air Force to cover them 2.5. And you probably want to bet the money line here, right?
You already know it, Gator Dave. Yep, I'm taking it down to the money line, and I'm with you, sir. I'm all over Air Force. I think that's the side. Yes, they have lost their last 2, but they lost their last 2 to really good teams. San Diego State, good team, top 25 team. Army, really good team. They play disciplined ball. They gave Air Force a great game. That game went to OT. I was super nervous about the under as soon as it did. James, I see you, James. What's up, man? That under last week for Army Air Force, I was watching. I was nervous on it, but Army ended up getting the cover. We got the cover on the under as well, so that was a good game. I thought for sure that was about to go to OT and hit it, but yeah, I like Air Force here. Colorado State, I just don't think is a good team. We were against them a couple of times earlier in the year. I think they show their true colors in this game. Air Force has a lot to prove as well. Those last 2 games, kind of heartbreakers for them. I think they come out, beat Colorado State pretty handily, maybe like a 31-17 type of game. But again, don't mess around with that -2.5. Just take them down to the money line. Better just to be safe than sorry. And Dave, I got one last one for you, sir. We got the sneak-in game. You already know. So we're talking, Mr. Public House. How are you?
Public House here in the house.
It's Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. Look at here.
Hey. Watch me disappear.
I was waiting for it. I was really hoping it wasn't going to work. All right, so we got North Carolina State at Wake Forest.
I knew that's where you're going. I stayed away.
Top 25 matchup. ACC football. Prime time game. What you got for me?
When is the game?
Prime time. Saturday night. Top 25
I had
matchup.
that one written down on my sheet.
This is actually a good shot, potentially at a shake up in the Atlantic Division of the ACC as well. NC State could somehow sneak in there, or open the door for like Clemson if they beat Wake Forest in this game right here.
I know, and so Wake Forest is getting is -2.
Yep.
Right. North Carolina State is 7-2 overall record, 6-3 against the spread. Their last 2 games, they beat Florida State by 14. They beat Louisville by 14. Before that, they lost to your boys, right? And then they've won. I mean, goodness gracious. This one is it's at Wake Forest. So Wake Forest is 8-1, 4-5 against the spread. They haven't played the spread well at all. But they put up some big numbers as of late. God dang. This is a tough one.
Put you on the spot. That's what I do. That's
I
my
would.
job. That's why I'm here. That's why they hired me at Get Ripped.
I know. And you threw this one out, like knowing that I scratched through this one because I was like, I don't want to play this one, Mighty Mike.
Yep.
But you want to throw it back
Some
at
told me, I think it was actually a dream last night that I had. It must have come to me. Just how can I mess with Gator Dave? And it said,
Yeah.
Wolfpack.
I should have talked to my boy.
Wolfpack.
I got a friend that's a huge NC State fan. And I'm like, oh, I'll tell you, my gut tells me that NC State is going to grab this one. That's my gut.
Well, I love it.
What say you?
At least we got one showdown for this week. I'm on Wake Forest. I'm on Wake, baby. I think Wake gets it done. I think they right the ship. They turn it around at home, night game. They'll be in all black. It'll be as about intimidating as Winston-Salem can get. So
Yeah.
I think
They'll be up there reading books.
That's right. Chanting hymns together. So, yes, take Wake Forest, money line. Unless you like money and like to play history, which says that Gator Dave is the showdown guy in comparison to me.
If we were betting, this would be, as you say, one I would stay away from.
Fair.
Because
I mean, that's why this wasn't on our list in the first place, right?
That's right. Because I wanted to stay away from this one. So
that's fair.
But I will more than take the challenge of a showdown game.
Bring it
on.
We
know where Gator Dave's been on showdown.
Bring it on, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So.
And another thing, another reason I'm taking Wake Forest, I don't know if you noticed with these games this week, but we're super heavy on the away team. And not only the away team, but the away team favorite. So that's something that I noticed as well. 7 out of those 8 games were on the away team. 6 out of those are the favorite. So I thought that was interesting as well.
It is.
So we're going Wake. Let's go for the home team one time. Come on, Wake. Get it done. Get it done. Get it done, Wake. Do not let Clemson back in that ACC championship game, Wake. Do not do it. Do not do it.
Oh, that would really suck.
Do not do it.
That would suck.
You've gotten this far. Finish the drill.
That would suck. All right. Well, that's week 11. Interesting week, and of course we're definitely happy for you and the Gleason clan going head to head.
Oh yeah.
With
rivalry week, baby. State hate week.
It is rivalry.
Go Canes. Go Canes. Rivalry week.
Rivalry week. Don't say that too many times. So again,
send us all the videos you can of sending rivalry week. Rivalry week. Say that 5 times fast and send us a video of you doing it. Tag Get Ripped. Hashtag Get Ripped. Just let us know you do it.
I will also say if Florida loses this weekend, that Dan Mullen will be fired by Monday because he will well deserve because they are playing Stanford.
Oh, Samford. Out of Alabama.
Yes. So it's not. We'll see what they do. Hopefully it'll be an interesting game. I'm sure I won't be able to see it up there in New York because they'll be showing that silly thing up there.
I hope for your sake, Gator Dave, that you guys pull it out and Dan Mullen's still your coach come Monday.
There you go. Yeah.
Just for your sanity in New York, if anything else.
That's what I figured. Well, hopefully everybody watches the tape of the show tomorrow night. Because obviously we kind of slid it in tonight.
Yep, we did it. We did it a day early, so it's live now. It'll be posted as soon as we end the live stream. So make sure obviously if you've gotten this far, you've probably checked it out. If you're watching it later on, but make sure to watch it again if you need to over the week and get these picks in. Hopefully we have a better weekend this weekend than we did last weekend, especially in NFL.
Yeah.
NFL was crazy. Also in NFL, we've been absent the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago we were down in Jacksonville, didn't get it in. Last week, technical difficulties, it just didn't happen. This week we're back on, so make sure to check us out then this weekend. We'll get in those NFL picks. See if we can get back rolling.
Awesome. And we'll see what happens this week. Look forward to it. Hopefully enjoy some Big Apple and some good food up there, and get to see our boy Ian in his new environment up there. So we definitely look forward to it, and we'll talk to everybody next week, and go Gators.
Right on. All right, Dave. Go Canes, baby.
See you guys. Good luck.
We're going to beat the Noles. Let's go.
Beat them Noles.
All right, Dave. Have a good one. Have fun.